This foreigner entered the country on April 12th. His activities are unusual and suspicious. Even though he resembles the great revolutionary leader Lenin, we believe he is engaged in subversive activities.
When I went to China, I thought I'd do some writing. In my mind, I developed an image, a conception of the country. I had a notion that many curious and culturally interesting foreigners would gravitate to the capital, Beijing. There'd be a small group of these people, with a small set of well-known meeting places, restaurants, bars, and so on. To my warped imagination, it would be the 80s equivalent of Paris in the 20s. I thought it would be the perfect place to accomplish some writing. I thought I would find inspiration.
If I take this job in China, would you come with me?
I also went there because my wife got a job working for a German mining company.
This foreigner walks around the city a lot. He goes to the famous monuments, but he also walks through the back alleyways, sticking his head into people's courtyard where it is none of his business.
I've never seen you like this before. You're so restless. How come you never spend any time at home? How come you never write anything?
There'd be all kinds of stories to tell. I could write magazine articles. I could find the American expatriate community and have stimulating intellectual discussions which would inspire me. I could write some short stories, or a novel, or a screenplay.
Your ambitions are impressive. I support your goals. I've always thought you could be a writer, but you enjoy life too much. How can you really accomplish anything the way you go about it?
In his room, he has the necessities for writing reports, but we cannot find any reports he has written yet. Perhaps he carries them with him.
There are a lot of people here. Sometimes I watch them working. They work very slowly. They take a lot of breaks. They don't seem very motivated.
Even though he's married, he has started to see a foreign girl. She's an exchange art student from France. She entered the country on September 2nd last year. In her room, she has some books that are banned in China.
Mao didn't want the people to follow his thoughts dogmatically. I really believe that Mao tried to empower the people.
I have fallen in love with a 20-year-old girl. She's from France. I don't know what to do about it. She works part-time in my wife's office. I wouldn't dare to do anything, but I'd like to anyway. I try to make sure I can spend time with her. She likes me too, but she knows I'm with my wife.
How can you be in love with me? You hardly know me. Besides, I have to work with your wife every day.
I watch you. You eat, you go for walks, you talk to people, you smoke cigarettes, you drink beer and brandy, you take pictures, and you read a lot. How can you accomplish any writing if you're doing anything else but writing?
This country fascinates me. To some extent, I think everybody suffers here. Maybe it's because there's so many people. But it might be because of the system. There is definitely something wrong with the system. Even if there were some good ideas in the beginning, the execution has been lousy. It's always been lousy. Every communist program to improve living standards has eventually failed. They've reverted to a feudal economy where everything is commanded from the top.
I disagree. There is no question that the revolution has been good for the majority of the people. The conditions for the peasants have been greatly improved.
One day, it occurred to me that Mao was not a true Maoist.
Your ideas are interesting, but I don't know what you're going to do with them. I don't really have time to listen to all of your theorizing and philosophizing. You run a lot of times, and I'm even offended sometimes by the things you say. All this thinking, does it lead anywhere? What are you going to write about?
Today, while the subject was touring at the Summer Palace, we found a story he has written. It appears to be a very stupid story about a Chinese citizen who wakes up one morning having physically turned into a foreigner. It is never explained how this could possibly happen, and the fact that this is an impossibility makes us suspect his motives. Either he has written this story deliberately to put us on the wrong track, or it is a coded message, or he is insane. In case it is to put us on the wrong track, we will continue to be vigilant in our observations so we will not be misled. In case it is a coded message, we have submitted a copy to the Deciphering Bureau along with the copies of all pages he throws in the trash. If he is insane, we will keep an eye on him. His writing is very similar to the writings of counter-revolutionary elements in our society, usually classified as bourgeois liberalism. Even though he is a foreigner, we would like to enter him in a programs of self-criticism and re-education.
I'm happy about this story. It's about a Chinese man who wakes up one morning having been turned into a Caucasian. I wrote it very fast, a 25-page story in just a couple of days, and I was pleased about how it captured the surrealistic feeling that I get in China. I read it to my wife, and she liked it.
This story is fun. Your life is so interesting. How can you be allowed to have that much fun? You're not working, and you get to do all these interesting things.
One day, in the park, the girl gave me her headphones and wanted me to listen to a song she'd queued up on the tape. It was a really great cover of that old song, Tracks of My Tears. Did she mean anything by giving me a song that has the line, "He ain't so cute, he's just a substitute, it's you I'm really thinking of"?
I like being with you. I feel safe with you. You are committed to your relationship with your wife.
The subject has traveled by train on May 23rd to Pingyao, Shanxi province. Comrades there have been watching him constantly. He cannot leave his room to use the toilet without our knowledge. He appears to be making a survey of the city. He has walked extensively through the streets and along the city wall. He has studied all the approaches to the city. He has tried to make contact with locals, but most of them wisely avoid a direct interaction. Our analysis of Pingyao shows it is of little significance strategically, except the army base to the northwest. It is notable that he has spent the most of time observing the north gate and has made a point of traveling beyond the city wall in every direction except northwest.
You're having a good time, aren't you? I'm not having so much fun. I have to work 6 days a week. A lot of it is really boring.
I wonder how she really feels about me. I'm just wasting my time. I don't have time for this.
His diary contains only descriptions and observations of a traveler. Except we did find some cryptic notes, such as hat stolen in Xi'an post office, and writer comes to China and can't get any work done. Complete copies of his diary and notes are being daily transmitted to the deciphering bureau.
I'm writing another story. It's much more important than going after this girl. I have illusions of immortality. Writing brings you close to immortality.
We found his newest code work. On the surface, it appears to be about a foreigner's mistrust of a Chinese taxi drivers. A very racist work.
My stories and my letters, they're all part of my scheme to achieve immortality and fame. I even try to write eloquent and compelling letters to people who will probably throw them away because there's the remote chance they'll keep them.
Very important. In Beijing, we have a report that a motion picture screenplay has turned up in the room of the French art student, which is titled Trial of a Trotskyist, and is written by this foreigner. A preliminary analysis shows it is a thinly veiled attack on the Communist Party, on socialism, and includes a portrayal of Mao Zedong that is inaccurate and subversive. The dissemination of this material will be very dangerous.
One day, the girl and I came across a movie set. The extras were all costumed as peasants. I thought it would be interesting to make a movie about the common people in China, about the happiness and sorrow of those who would never be remembered by history.
I don't think people are so unhappy here. Back home, I could never walk the streets at night and feel so safe.
A member of the film crew told me that the extras playing peasants weren't wearing costumes. The rags they wore were their own clothes.
Well, maybe some people are wearing their own clothes. I mean, sure, these people are still poor, but there is a lot of life here. Vibrant faces and activities. People go for walks at night, play chess under a street lamp. There's an incredible sense of life and vitality.
Everybody knows that Mao wanted to be emperor. That would explain why he chose to live in the Forbidden Palace.
You're saying he's a tyrant, and I'm saying he was studying revolutionaries, and he was trying to figure out how to give people the tools so they could better their own lives.
Mao thought his ideas were flawless, but they weren't.
He wanted people to think for themselves. He wanted people to take these ideas and use them to engage in self-criticism.
For the last few days, I felt sad. Partly it's the realization that I can't do everything I want. I can't write everything I want. I can't love everyone I want.
Mao himself was full of contradictions. Did you know he was a womanizer? He was. On the Long March, he was fucking women in the bushes every chance he got.
With all the months I've spent here, and all the books I've read, I still feel that I do not know China, and that I may never know China.
Where were you? Don't you remember we were going to that dinner party tonight? I've been sitting here ready to go for the last hour and a half.
I like knowing you. I'd like us always to be friends. I hope you will write to me. I will save all your letters.
It turned out the girl was leaving to go back to France. When she left, I felt my creative energy slip. I became depressed. I felt very, very tired.
I'm quitting my job. I want to do something better with my life. I have dreams of my own I want to fulfill. It's probably because of you. I can't stand seeing you have such a good time all the time when I'm not.
When my wife quit her job, it meant we had to leave right away. Maybe it was just as well to go home. I didn't want to suffer anymore. Some Chinese wear their suffering like a badge of honor. I'm not interested in that. Life is too short. I have the option not to suffer, so I'd rather not. There are plenty of other things to do.
He is scheduled to fly back to America. Action requested to detain the suspect has been denied. We do not know what state secret he's taking with him, but the comrades working on his case are certain he has damaging information. He is taking his screenplay with him. We do not believe it was widely read here. It is not well written anyway.
When I left China, I decided to leave my wife. I wanted to be with the art student, to go with her to France. But she wouldn't let me. Now I'm writing another book. I think I'm really onto something.